Yeah, a very good morning. So, welcome to yet another online session on principles of communication system. Right. So, we are still in module one. Right. So, in today's session, we will discuss about in detail about double sideband suppressed carrier modulation scheme. Right. One of the methods to generate that DSBSC, that is ring modulator. Right. And one theoretical approach, that is coherent detection, uh, or that is an approach to demodulate DSBSC, right? And we'll also try and learn about this COSTAS receiver, that is a practical coherent detector. So that's what we'll be studying in today's session. Right, so before that, I'll just so yeah. So we'll just have a quick recap. In last session, right, we have learned about double sideband suppressed carrier. Initially, we started with what is the motivation behind like going for this DSBSC modulation. So we have seen in standard AM, right, the information resides within the sidebands, right, and in standard AM, what happens is most of the power is transmitted in carrier, right? So carrier as such, it doesn't contain any information, right? So because of that, to improve the power efficiency, one of the options is to go for a double sideband suppressed carrier modulation. So in double sideband suppressed carrier modulation, carrier is suppressed, right? So that is, if you consider the time domain expression, right, we don't have like AC cos 2 pi FCT plus ACKAM and the cos 2 pi FCT. So it's actually what product of carrier and message, right? So the time domain expression as such says it doesn't have any what carrier frequency as such. What we have is a product of M of t with the carrier. So this is our S of t. So what is the advantage of suppressing the carrier? The advantage is improved power efficiency. Maybe I'll write it down here. Right. So the advantage of suppressing the carrier is improved power efficiency. I'll write it as eta. Right. Power efficiency normally we represent that. So improved power efficiency. But there is a problem. Right. So the standard AM, it was the simplest of all categories of AM. It was very easy for us to generate standard AM using switching modulator, which had only a diode and a resistor. But as we have the advantage of improved efficiency or suppressed carrier, right? The complexity of modulator and demodulator will be more in DSB SC. So we'll see what is that. So before that, the time domain expression for DSB SC signal is S of t is equal to C of t times M of t, right? That is AC cos 2 pi FCT. That is our carrier, and M of t is our message, right? So this is the time domain expression. So what will be the spectrum? How to find the spectrum? So initially, I have discussed, right? So what will happen to a baseband signals spectrum when it is multiplied with a cosinusoid of frequency FC? And we have already discussed it, right? If you think I should discuss it once again, right, I can do that, but you should let me know through chat window, right? If I should, so how this S of F is equal to half AC into M of F minus FC plus M of F plus FC, right? How it is like this. So this is the spectrum of M of T, that is M of F, right? It is a real valued baseband signal. M of T is a real valued baseband signal. For that reason, the spectrum is symmetric about F is equal to 0, and the maximum frequency content we assume is equal to W. And I already told this, whatever triangular shape we are considering, it's just for illustration purpose, right? It is not necessary that spectrum of a baseband signal, real valued baseband signal, should always look like a triangle, right? It can be anything, for instance, right? So we don't know what exactly is this signal M of t. So we are assuming the spectrum is of this shape. That's it, right? So now you can just type it in chat window if you want me to discuss how the spectrum came, Right, you can just type yes or no. Yeah, please respond fast so that we can move ahead. Right. So Sahana is typing yes, sir. Yes, okay, I'll discuss. Right. So normally, what I used to do is I used to discuss all the prerequisites initially itself, and I expect all of you to be like comfortable with that prerequisite, right? But that is my expectation. My expectation may not always be actually what fulfilled, right? So not a problem. I can discuss it. Right? I'll discuss. Right? So I'll just take a blank screen here. Right. So our S of t is equal to C of t into M of t. Right. Where C of t is AC cos 2 pi fct, and we don't know M of t. We don't know what actually is the time domain expression of M of t, but only thing what we know is its Fourier transform is equal to M of f, and it looks somewhat like this, right? It is a baseband signal with maximum frequency content W, right? So this is what we have now. So S of t, C of t, and M of t. So that is equal to AC times cos 2 pi fct times M of t, right? So how to find spectrum of this? So it is cos 2 pi fct multiplied with M of t, right? So we know the spectrum of M of t is M of f. The Fourier transform of M of t is M of f, right? Now the question is, what will happen to this spectrum, right? What will happen to this spectrum when it is multiplied with cos 2 pi fct, right? So initially, while discussing prerequisites, we have discussed it as modulation property, right? Or even before we came to the modulation property, we discussed the Euler's equation, wherein we told, right, e power j theta can be written as cos theta plus j sin theta. So cos theta can be written as, I can write cos theta, rewrite cos theta as AC times. How can I rewrite cos theta in terms of complex exponential? Can anyone help me out? E power j 2 pi fct plus e power minus j 2 pi fct divided by 2, right? So that is cos 2 pi fct times M of t, right? So that is cos 2 pi fct. I can always write as e power j 2 pi fct plus e power minus j 2 pi fct by 2. Why? How can I write that? Why? Because as per Euler's equation, e power j theta is cos theta plus j sin theta. This theta, it can be anything which is inside this bracket. That, what is the argument of cosine, right? This entire thing I considered as theta, right? So e power j theta is cos theta plus j sin theta. So you know, this is a complex number with real part as cos theta and imaginary part as sin theta. So if I should get cos theta, right, if I should get real part, what I should do is I should add the complex number and the complex conjugate. What is the complex conjugate of a complex number? Wherever we do have plus j, it will become minus j, right? Imaginary sign of imaginary part will be reversed, right? So for minus j theta divided by 2, this is cos theta. And if it is sin theta, it will be e power j theta minus e power minus j theta divided by 2j, right? I'm not discussing that now. So that's why cos 2 pi fct I have written as actually what? E power j 2 pi fct plus e power minus j 2 pi fct by 2, where fc is a carrier frequency, right? So now we do have this AC by 2. AC by 2 we have, right? That is a constant, so let it be there. And we have m of t into e power j 2 pi fct, m of t into e power j 2 pi fct plus m of t into e power minus j 2 pi fct, right? So now it reduces to actually what? AC by 2, it's a constant, right? This is one term, right? It is nothing but what m of t is multiplied with e power j 2 pi fct, and the second term, it is m of t multiplied with e power minus j 2 pi fct. Sorry. So yeah, so what is actually m of t multiplied with e power plus j 2 pi fct by frequency shifting property? Can anyone tell me? Right, it cannot be one-sided. I need interaction, right? So can anyone tell me what is m of t multiplied with e power j 2 pi fct? It's Fourier transform by frequency shifting property. You can type it in chat window. What happened? Why still silence? Is there any problem? Right, are you facing any serious problem with this subject? Right, so please feel free. Right, maybe I should call out someone's name, I think. Right, Abhilash is there. Abhilash K, can you please unmute yourself and say hi to everyone? I would like to uh, discuss with you something. And Abhilash. Abhilash is there. Abhilash, I would like to you to unmute and say hi. Yeah. So can you please tell me now what is Fourier transform of m of t times e power j 2 pi fct by frequency shifting property? What is that? We have already discussed that in initial class, right? So I've told this cos 2 pi fct. We have just seen cos 2 pi fct can be written as e power j 2 pi fct plus e power minus j 2 pi fct divided by 2. So ac by 2 times. So we have a term e power m of t times e power j 2 pi fct. What is the Fourier transform of that? Yeah, Abhilash.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, by frequency shifting property. We have already discussed it, right? And I've already posted the video as well, same thing, right? So can you please tell me? So someone else who can give Ansar, Muhammad Ansar. Yeah, Muhammad Ansar, I would like you to unmute yourself. Ansar is there? Muhammad Ansar. Abhilash, you can mute yourself, not a problem. Okay, Rohan Jobi. Right, I requested you people to respond. Otherwise, I won't be able to continue. Right. So if you know, please you can type it in. Oh, okay. But if you don't know, please do type it in chat window. So that why all are silent? What happened? Right. So okay, maybe I'll only take it forward. Right. So we have here AC by 2, AC by 2, then m of t into e power j 2 pi fct plus m of t into e power minus j 2 pi fct. Right. So someone has typed in something. So Rohan has messaged that I have a problem with microphone. Sorry. So yeah, fine. So right. So yeah. So again, so AC by 2 m of t times e power j 2 pi fct plus m of t times e power minus j 2 pi fct, right? So by frequency shifting property, it will become actually what Fourier transform of this will be m of f minus fc. That is, this M of F, right, which is a baseband spectrum, which is centered at 0 and has a maximum frequency content W, it will be shifted, right, or translated in frequency by an amount Fc, right. So if this is Fc, right, so this will be shifted, right, by an amount Fc, right. And as it is a real valued spectrum, it will be symmetric about Fc, and it will span from Fc plus W to Fc minus W, right. And the second term will become M of F plus Fc. M of F plus Fc will be actually what? M of F shifted left by an amount Fc. So it will be centered at minus Fc, right. And again symmetric about minus Fc. It will span from minus Fc plus W to minus Fc minus W, right. So this is the spectrum, right. This is what we are supposed to get, and this is the same thing what we are getting, and it is always weighted with actually what? Half AC. Why? Because cos 2 pi fct, when I am representing as sum of complex exponential, right, there is a term 1 by 2. So that is why the magnitude, it is scaled by half AC, right. And you can also see there is no carrier term as such, right. So it's just M of F plus Fc, M of F minus Fc, and M of F plus Fc. So the carrier is suppressed. So the power which was required to transmit the carrier, it is saved here, right. So that is what is the DSB-SC modulation. But one more thing what you can see here is, as we don't have a carrier as such, right, and when we are multiplying carrier directly with M of T, right, so whenever this M of T is positive, it's okay, right, carrier envelope will be positive. But whenever this M of T is negative, you can see there will be a phase reversal. So this phase reversal is inevitable, right. So there will be a phase reversal for sure, or in other words, I can tell, right, the envelope or the information is partly, it's if I take only the, if I pass it through an envelope detector, what will happen? I'll get only the positive envelope, which is not the required message signal, right. So the information is residing partly in positive envelope and partly in negative envelope. So I cannot use an envelope detector as such, as we have discussed for standard AM. So I'll have to try and use some other means for detecting it. So what we have discussed now was what is DSB-SC, need for DSB-SC, and we even know how to obtain the spectrum of DSB-SC, right. And this is the spectrum of DSB-SC signal. It doesn't have a carrier. It has actually what? Upper sideband and lower sideband, right. So carrier is suppressed. So we have improved power efficiency, right. So then now we'll see, we have already seen in last class a simulation of a ring modulator in Multisim Live, right. So today what we'll do is we'll just try and list down the working of a ring modulator. So we have seen this is the ring modulator, and I have already told why it is called ring modulator. So if you see this, maybe you may be getting confused. Why? Because while simulating, we have used a circuit like this, wherein the diodes were forming a ring, all were facing in same direction, right. But these two are same. If you see this segment CD, right, if I flip it, right, left to right, right, this CD, if I flip it left to right, I will get this circuit which we had used in Multisim live simulation, right. So this is a ring modulator. As we have seen, there are two center tap transformers, right, and we are assuming there are certain assumptions. The assumptions are both the transformers are balanced, right. So I'll be sharing this PPT with you at the end, right. So the assumptions are both the transformers are balanced, which means the center tap is exactly at the middle turn, right, and the potential above and below, right, it will be same, right. The voltage drop above this center tap and below the center tap is going to be same. So both are balanced, and all the diodes are identical, right, and there is no leakage, right. So this modulating wave, it is not going to what? Lead to this second transformer, right. So those are the assumptions, right. And what we are assuming is diode, we are assuming it to be like piecewise linear, right? So the diodes have a constant forward resistance RF when switched on. So when if this diode is on, right, that is the potential at P side is greater than potential at N side, it will act as a like a resistor of RF. That we have seen the piecewise linear model in the case of a switching modulator. Same thing, but we do have four diodes here, right? And when it is reverse bias, we can assume it will be either open or I can replace it with a very high resistance RB, right? So now we will see what during we can see the equivalent circuit of this, right? During positive half cycle, right? The outer diodes, maybe I will call it diode 1 and diode 2, right? These outer diodes, right? Diode 1 and diode 2 are on, right? And diode 3 and diode 4 will be off. Why? Because during positive half cycle, the polarity here will be plus and this will be minus. So you can see these two diodes. So a higher potential or positive potential is given to P of D1 and D2 compared to N of D1 and D2. So D1 and D2 will be on. So we can replace the diodes which are on with the forward resistance RF, right? And you can see these two diodes, right, will be off. So I can replace it with the reverse bias resistance, or I can replace it with open circuit. So what will happen is the current will be flowing in this direction, right? Current will be flowing in this direction, right? But during negative half cycle of the carrier, I mean to say, what happens is diode D1 and D2 will be reverse bias, they will be open, and D3 and D4 will be forward bias. So the current flow, so during negative half cycle, what happens is, maybe I'll use some other in color, right? During negative half cycle, what happens is this will be negative and this will be positive, right? So the current flow will be like this, right? The current flow will be like this. So the so what we can conclude is either in positive half cycle or a negative half cycle, the output voltage magnitudes are same, but actually what polarity is reversed, right? So so this is the how we can explain the working of a ring modulator. Already we have like seen the simulation, and at that time we have explained the working. But now once again, right, you can just see this. We'll have a quick recap. So if this is a message signal, and we will be assuming the carrier to be a square wave, right? A carrier to be a square wave of frequency FC, and as we have discussed in switching modulator, we will be assuming, right, the switching on and off the diode, it depends solely on this amplitude of C of T. If C of T is positive, D1 and D2 will be on, D3 and D4 will be off, and if C of T is negative, D1 and D2 will be off, D3 and D4 will be let's say on, right? So then this is the output of the this is the output of the ring modulator. So we have already seen this, and the simulation part we have seen, and I've already shared the multi-sim live simulation link in Canvas. I request you to try it out. Right. So now what was left out, we had discussed all these things already in last session. So what was left out is the mathematical modeling part, right? So what was left out is the mathematical modeling part, right? So you can see, right, this is the carrier wave C of T. It's a square wave, right? We have assumed it to be a square wave, right? And the square wave C of T, by means of Fourier series representation, we can write like this, that is 4 by pi summation n from 1 to infinity minus 1 to the power n minus 1 to n minus 1, right? So we have already seen how to represent a clock pulse or only positive pulse train using Fourier series expansion. But what is it? Can anyone tell me what is the difference between this Fourier series representation of a positive pulse train and this square wave? Can anyone tell me that? Yeah. So what was the anyone remember what was the Fourier series representation of like say positive pulse train. Anyone remember that? Why all are silent? Right. Yeah, someone like okay, right. So maybe I'll just yeah. So last time for switching modulator we have seen pulse trains like this, right? Which will vary from 0 to 1, right? And we have found the Fourier series representation of this was half plus, right, 2 by pi summation n from 1 to infinity, right, minus 1 to the power n minus 1 divided by 2n minus 1 cos of 2 pi times 2n minus 1 times f t, right? Anybody remember this? Right. What is the meaning of this? So in Fourier series expansion, this is the DC term or A0, right? A0, it is nothing but what? It is the DC term, right? Or average value, right? So if you see this, right? If you see a positive clock pulse train, right? If you take average of this over a cycle, what will be the average DC value? It will be not equal to 0. DC value will be not equal to 0. Why? Because it has only positive upcycle and 0. Right. So there will be a finite DC value. 1/2 is there. It corresponds to a DC value. Right. And 2 by pi times. So I can just show you a GeoGebra simulation. I know most of you are confused with this expression. Right. I'll show that. Right. So now this was for a positive pulse train. So what is the meaning A0 being not equal to 0? Which means if you take average over a cycle, right, or if you take average from minus infinity to infinity or whatever, right, the DC value or average value will not be equal to 0. So there is a finite average value, right? Plus these are actually what weighted sum of odd harmonics of cosinusoids, right? These are weighted sum of odd harmonics of cosinusoids, right? So now, right, so here, can you see the difference now? So this is a square wave, right? It has positive as well as negative amplitude. So if you take average over one cycle, what will happen? If you take average over one cycle, what will happen? There is equal positive and negative areas. Right, someone has typed in something. Yeah, Samarth has told it rightly. It will be equal to 0. There is no DC term. Right, that is true. Right, so DC term will be 0. So you can see there is no A0 term here, right? There is no A0 term here. Only what we have is odd harmonics of sinusoids, right? So maybe like even though this expression looks a bit complicated, if I show you a simulation in GeoGebra, I think you will be able to appreciate it, right? So for that, I'll just share this, stop sharing the screen now, and I'll share GeoGebra for some time, right? Yeah, can anyone tell me whether my screen is visible now? I'm just sharing it. Can anyone tell whether my screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah. So I need someone to help me out, right? So what we have is this expression 4 by pi times summation, right? N from say 1 to infinity, So before that, maybe we can write down some terms, and after that, I will come here. That's what I think would be better, right? So before we come here, some of you please, right, take down, right, these values. So now what I want you to do is, right, now what I want you to do is, please note down this. I want you to expand this for different values of n. What will be the terms, right? So initially, the c of what will be the c of t when n is, what will be the term of c of t when n is equal to 1? What will happen to this? Can anyone tell me? When n is equal to 1, 4 by pi will be there. That you substitute n equal to 1. So 1 minus 1 will be equal to 0, right? So minus 1 to the power 0 will be plus 1 itself.
Sorry to interrupt,
Yes,
sir.
please.
So we can't see your screen.
Is it? One second.
Yeah,
One second.
yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you for like letting me know. Right. Yeah. Now is it visible? Right. Now,
Yes, sir.
now it's visible. Okay, fine. Now I want you to what? Substitute the values of n. When n equal to 1, what happens? So for n equal to 1, what will be the c of a? I'll write it here. Right. So it will be equal to, right? Okay. I'll take a pen. Right. It will be equal to, right, 4 by pi. Right. So when n equal to 1, can anyone tell me what is the term? 4 by pi. It will be minus 1 to the power 1 minus 1 is 0. So minus 1 to the power 0 is 1. 1 by 2 into 1 minus 1. So it will be 1 cos 2 pi fct. What is 2 into 1 minus 1? It is again 1. So it will be 4 by pi times cos 2 pi fct. The second term will be actually 1 by, so when n is equal to 2, right, it will be minus 1 by 3, right, minus 1 by 3 times cos 2 pi times 3 fct, and similarly plus 1 by 5 times cos 2 pi times 5 fct, and so on, right? So this is the series. So what it implies is, right, even though it is not a sinusoid, right, this periodic function, that is the c of t, can be represented as weighted sum of odd harmonics of sinusoid. So maybe we'll just try and verify it now. That's what we are going to do. So if I can show it to you in GeoGebra, will you be able to believe this? Will you be like, so now is it clear how it is expanded? What actually is this? Because we'll be encountering this in quite a lot of places, right? Already in switching modulator, we have seen that. At that time, I've just left it as such. I thought I'll be discussing it here in detail, right? So maybe now we want to show, if you add 4 by pi cos 2 pi fct minus 4 by 3 pi cos 2 pi times 3 fct plus 4 by 5 pi times cos 2 pi times 5 fct, so on and so forth, you will get a square wave. Will you get a square wave or not? That is my question, right? Whether we'll get a square wave. Yeah, you can type it in chat window, yes or no. Whether we'll get a square wave if we, yes, Sherwin is telling yes. And if, what should I do if we don't get a square wave, if we add those terms? Why? Because those are cosinusoids, and what we have is a square wave. Whether we'll get that, right? So we'll see that now. So now someone want to help me with the terms. What was the first term? The first term was 4 by pi. I'll just type it in here, right? 4 by pi cos 2 pi times f times, instead of t, I'll be using x here. So first term was a sinusoid, so I'm calling it as h of x, right? What was the second term? It was 4 by, can anyone tell me please? 4 by 3 pi. Please help me out, right? 4 by 3 pi. In fact, it was negative, right? Second term was negative or positive? It was negative.
Negative, sir.
Negative, right? So minus 4 by 3 pi, right, times cos 2 pi times 3 times, or else I should have directly written 6 pi, but I'm writing it right for you to understand. These are odd harmonics, f times x. So this is another cosinusoid, right? Then next term would be plus 4 by 5 pi, right? Plus 4 by 5 pi, right? Then into cos, right? 2 times 5 times 2 pi times 5 times, then f times x, right? So if we add everything, so now we have seen, right, individual. So this is I'll right. So this is 4 by pi cos 2 pi ft, right? And this is minus 4 by 3 pi cos 2 pi 3 ft, and this is 4 by 5 pi cos 2 pi times 5 ft. This is actually what the actual frequency. This is actually what first odd harmonic. This is second odd harmonic, so on and so forth. So now my question is, so I've named them as h of x, p of x, and q of x. If I add these three, what I'll get? What I'll get? What I'm supposed to get? I'm at h of x plus p of x, right, plus q of x, right? Are we getting a somewhat a square wave? Are we getting? Can you see we are getting some? If I add more terms, it will be actually what? A more accurate square wave, right? So what I have done is I have written an equation here, right? That equation has a summation 4 by pi minus 1 to the power n minus 1 2 n by, like this equation as such I have written here, right? So then I am what considering n as a variable, and n will vary from 1 to a for a also, right? So this is the, so now this is for only one term. So now if I am increasing the terms, you can see now for 5 terms, if I add 5 terms, you can see it is becoming actually what, more close to a square wave. If I increase it further, is it becoming a square wave? Can you see a square wave? Yes or no? Please do respond. At least someone can, right, represent the entire class and say yes or no. Can you see a square wave? I didn't ask you whether you are able
Yes,
to appreciate this. You can see a square wave, right? So so that's what we have. It's not a big deal. What we have done is a square wave. We are telling it can be represented as actually what, weighted sum of cosinusoids, right? That the same thing is what we have used for switching modulator also. But for switching modulator, we had a DC term R plus, right? I request you to try out that, right? Whatever we have done for switching modulator, right? I request you to try out in this GeoGebra, or if you want, you can try it out in MATLAB also, right? So, but you can see some spikes here wherever there is discontinuity. What you have to keep in mind is the sinusoids and cosinusoids, they are continuous functions. There is no discontinuity anywhere, right? But square wave, if you see that, like initially, so for some duration it is kept at a constant magnitude, then abruptly it is changing to what, +1 to -1. So there is a sharp discontinuity there. So at that point, at the points of discontinuity, we'll have some like glitches or spikes like this. It is called Gibbs phenomena. I think you might have already studied this in smaller classes, or you will be studying it later, right? So at the discontinuities, we'll have some issues. So, and this is how in actual machines, right? It is easy for us to what, generate sinusoids or cosinusoids, right? And anything we can, in any periodic waveform, we can represent as actually what, sum of sinusoids and cosinusoids. And this is how in digital machines, right, we will be generating what, any other waveforms using with the help of harmonics of sinusoids and cosinusoids. But there is a limitation, right? That is this Gibbs phenomenon. So I just want you people to appreciate this. Now no more confusion, even though that Fourier series expansion you might have studied it and forgotten it long back, right? Now I want you people to what, just recollect that and appreciate right? So now shall we move ahead? Now, are you okay with that expression? Right. Now, are you okay with this expression? Whatever I have written here, I've shown a square wave, right? And I'm telling C of t can be written as 4 by pi times summation minus 1 to n minus 1 to n minus 1 cos 2 pi fct. And this is an approximation. Fourier series representation is an approximation. The more number of terms we add, the more accurate the result will be. Right. So our S of t is C of t into M of t. So you can see C of t is nothing but what I can replace C of t with this, right? C of t into M of t, right? So why, how this becomes multiplication? Why? Because it is the presence of diode, right? The presence of diode actually what uh, brings in this multiplication. So I request you to what, watch the video of switching modulator, how this, right? So it can give you the answer to why this becomes a multiplication. Normally it has to be addition, but why multiplication with M of t and C of t? Right. For that, the answer is you watch the video for switching modulator, which is already posted. Right. There we are telling how this multiplication with a square wave comes. That will give you an answer. Right. So maybe this is S of t. So how the spectrum of S of t will look like? So we have a cos 2 pi fct into M of t. Right. So I'll write it down here. Right. I write down here. Right. We have here one term would be cos 2 pi fct into M of t, and one more term will be cos 2 pi times 3 fct times M of t, right? And so on and so forth, right? So what happens is this M of t will be, M of f will be shifted to what? Plus fc and minus fc because of this first term, right? And it will further be shifted to what? Plus 3fc and minus 3fc because of the second term, right? And we even will have actually what, M of f getting shifted to 5 plus or minus 5fc plus or minus 7fc, so on and so forth, because of this Fourier series approximation what we have considered, right? So but what we need is DSB-SC signal. It is only this much, right? DSB-SC, what we need is only this much, right? So we don't want whatever is beyond this. So how can we obtain only this part, say from fc plus w to minus fc minus w? How can we obtain this? Or else only this part, how can we obtain? So if you pass it through a, say a low pass filter, which will allow a maximum frequency fc plus w, we can isolate this, right? Yes or no? Can we do that? Can we obtain only this part if I pass the S of t through a low pass filter? So basically in reality or in practice, this S of t, it should be passed through a low pass filter, right? It should be passed through a low pass filter, or sorry, or a band pass filter, right? Or a band pass filter with center frequency fc, and so maybe I should have told a band pass filter, right? A band pass filter with center frequency fc and pass band from fc minus w to fc plus w to get the DSB-SC signal. This is a DSB-SC spectrum, right? So that's what I've listed down here, right? So it consists of M of f shifted to fc, 3fc, 5fc, so on and so forth. But to get the desired DSB-SC signal, we should pass it through a band pass filter with midband frequency fc and carrier frequency, midband frequency fc, and bandwidth equal to 2w, right? So now is it clear? Do you have any doubt in this? So we have discussed the working and the mathematical modeling of ring modulator output. So in this, do you have any doubt? Yeah, please type yes or no. Right, any doubt in this? Okay, Tejasri has typed no, so I'll take it as a right. So please, right. So maybe only a place where you might have found some difficulties by seeing this complicated expression, right? But we have seen what actually is that we are approximating a square wave with a weighted sum of cosinusoids. That's it, right? So now we will. One more thing, what you should keep in mind is the circuit either for generation of actually DSB-SC will consist of a ring modulator followed by a band pass filter. That is what you have to keep in mind. Only ring modulator will not be giving you a required DSB-SC as such. It will have some additional components. To filter it out, we should have a band pass filter, right? So now we'll discuss how theoretically we can demodulate DSB-SC, right? For that we have a demodulator. We can call it actually what? Coherent detection, right? We can call it coherent detector or synchronous demodulation. And one more thing which I forgot to tell is, right, this ring modulator, it is also called actually what? Double balanced modulator, right? It is also called as double balanced mode. It's not balanced modulator. Balanced modulator separate it is there. It is called double balanced modulator. That also you please keep in mind, right? So yeah, so now coherent detection, that's what we are going to see next. So coherent detection is actually what are the theoretical approach using which or mathematical modeling of a DSB-SC demodulation, right? That is coherent detection, right? So a coherent detection, the modulated signal S of t will be given as input to the coherent detector. So a coherent detector basically has a product modulator. It is nothing but what it like if you give two inputs S of t and another input, this product modulator simply multiplies these two. That's it, right? By seeing product modulator, you don't have to get confused, right? So why we are calling modulator? Why? Because DSB-SC can be obtained by multiplying with M of t and S of t, right? So the modulation is actually what? Product modulation. So we are calling it product modulator. So product modulator, what it basically does is it multiplies the inputs. So one of the inputs is actually what? S of t, and other input you can see it is a locally generated wave, right? So basically how transmission happens, we'll just recollect, right? Basically how transmission happens. So we'll have a transmitter, right, followed by a transmitting antenna, and it will be transmitted through free space or any other medium, and at some faraway point we'll have a receiving antenna and a receiver. So modulation happens in this transmitter and demodulation happens in this receiver, right? So the transmitter locally, if you consider transmitter as an AM station, the receiver can be an AM, right? Transistor radio, right? AM an AM receiver, right? Radio, right? So it is, they are separated far away, right? But you can see there should be a local oscillator which knows the carrier frequency, which is aware of the carrier frequency, right? Which is aware of the carrier frequency. So a carrier frequency of excuse me, right? So carrier frequency, it is generated at the local oscillator, but the problem is we cannot guarantee precise phase synchronization, right? So this S of t, it is nothing but what? AC cos 2 pi FCT into M of t. The initial phase we assumed phi was equal to 0, but we cannot guarantee the precise phase synchronization between actually what? The carrier. This is a local oscillator. It generates C of t, right, locally at the receiving end, right? And of course we do have an issue. We don't know what is the precise phase, so it won't be in phase synchronization with the carrier which is used at the transmitter, right? So a local oscillator produces the carrier, and this S of t and AC dash cos 2 pi fc, they are multiplied, right? And whatever is obtained at the output of product modulator, it is passed through a low pass filter to get the like message signal, right? To get the message signal, right? So maybe we'll see how it happens. So maybe, right? So this is how, right? So V of t, it is nothing but what? The product modulator output. It is equal to AC dash cos 2 pi fct, AC dash cos 2 pi fct plus phi. That is the input one, and times S of t, right? Times S of t, right? So V of t is AC dash cos 2 pi fct plus phi times S of t. So we are not writing it as AC. Why? Because we don't know what exactly was the amplitude of C of t which is used at the transmitter side, and also it won't be, right, there will be some phase error, right, in the locally generated carrier with respect to the carrier which was used in the transmitter side, right? So now S of t I can expand. S of t I can expand as actually what? AC cos 2 pi fct plus 5 times m of t. So now we have here actually what? Cos A cos B, cos 2 pi fct times cos 2 pi fct plus 5, right? So now what is cos A cos B? Cos A cos B. So we have seen it quite a few times, right? So half of cos A plus B times plus cos of A minus B, right? So now we'll assume this to be A and this to be B, right? So if you expand, what we'll get is half of AC A dash cos 4 pi FCT. So what is 2 pi FCT plus 2 pi FCT plus 5? So 2 pi FCT and 2 pi FCT will give you, A plus B will give you 4 pi FCT plus 5. So this is A plus B. This is A plus B, right? Then what is A minus B? It will be equal to what? Simply 5. So what we have here is we have a high frequency term, right? We have a high frequency term and our message, right, multiplied with, so you can see AC is a constant, right? AC dash is another constant, and this cos phi, cos of some angle, this is again a constant, right? So m of t multiplied with some constant is what we are getting here, right? In second term we have m of t, which is a low pass signal or low frequency low pass signal multiplied with some constant. So what will happen if we pass this v of t through a low pass filter? What will happen if we pass this v of t through a low pass filter? Only the, so this is the like maybe this is the spectrum v of f. So v of t, the product modulator output spectrum is like this. It has, right, half AC dash cos phi times m of t. That is what is shown here, right? M of f, right, scaled with half AC dash, right, cos phi. Then one more term will be m of t times 2 pi times 2 fct. So it will be actually what? M of f shifted to plus 2 fc and minus 2 fc, right? So m of t shifted to plus 2 fc and minus 2 fc, right? So we have these things, but what we need is we need to, in demodulation, we need to get back only the message signal, only this part we need, right? Or only from 0 to W we need, right? Only this part we need. We don't want the remaining parts. These parts are not required. So what we can do is I can pass it through a low pass filter, right? So from V of t, if I have to get only like this m of t part, of course weighted with some like constants, right? I should pass it through a low pass filter. I should pass it through a low pass filter, right? So that is what is happening here. So if you pass it through a low pass filter, what we will get is the demodulated output. What you have to see here is it is of course weighted with some constant, right? Half AC dash, and also with cos phi. So this cos phi also will be another constant, right? So this is the coherent detection. It's actually what a theoretical or mathematical model of DSB-SC demodulation, right? So now we have to see some more thing, quadrature null effect and all those things. Maybe we'll see it in a recorded session, right? I think for the time being, we'll stop it here, right? So already almost it is time. Now I would like to hear from you if you have any questions, if you have any doubt, or if you are not clear with any parts, right? And I will request anyone to summarize, right, what we have learned today, right? I will request any one of you to summarize what we have learned today, right? So before that, do we have any doubt? Is there any doubt? Or before that, I'll ask, did you understand anything what we have discussed today? Yes or no? Because I want everyone to type in, right? Did you understand anything? Right? I'm not asking, did you understand the entire thing? Right? Right. So most of you are typing, right? Others, they don't have any opinion. Right. So if you have understood something, then hopefully you won't have much doubts. Okay, fine. Yeah. So now I would like to ask someone. So if any volunteer who can summarize what we have discussed in today's session, anyone can volunteer, right? I'm not calling out name, Right. So anyone can volunteer what we have discussed in today's session. We'll just summarize what we have discussed in today's session. Then we'll wind up the this session. Right. So we'll just summarize. Right. So maybe I'll just note down here. So yeah, anyone, please unmute and tell. Right. So we have. So in today's session we have seen DSBSC, time domain expression, right, and spectrum, right, and we have even seen how to evaluate the spectrum of DSBSC, right. So what can anyone tell me what was the spectrum of DSBSC signal? It was half AC times. Please unmute and tell anyone. Right, fine. So half AC times M of F minus FC plus M of F plus FC. This was the this was the like spectrum, right? And we even saw how to evaluate this, right? And after this, what we have learned, right? After this, what we have learned about ring modulator, right? Ring modulator we have studied, right? Ring modulator we have seen the working, right? With the help of circuit diagram and waveform, you should be able to explain the working, right? And we even did mathematically model the ring modulator output, right? We even did mathematically model the ring modulator output, right? Then we have seen like one GeoGebra simulation, right? What was the GeoGebra simulation about? What was that GeoGebra simulation? What was the inference we derived from the GeoGebra simulation? Like we have just visualized the Fourier series representation. We have seen how a square wave can be approximated as weighted sum of sinusoids, right? And that is, if you see C of t is equal to half plus 2 by pi summation n from 1 to infinity y minus 1 to the power blah 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 blah. You don't have to get scared, right? It simply means we are approximating a square wave or whatever as like finite number of sinusoids using Fourier series expansion, right? Then after that we have seen what is a coherent detection, right? What is a coherent detection, right? The basic idea of coherent detection we have seen. So in next session, that will be an offline session, I will discuss about actually what some of the issues with coherent detection, that is quadrature null effect, right? And one practical, right? So in next session we will discuss with quadrature null effect, right? And how, right, this suppressing carrier affects the complexity of the modulator and demodulator, right? And also we'll discuss about Costa's receiver, that is a practical say coherent detection method, right? So in next video, offline video, we'll discuss that. So this is what we have discussed today, right? Now, yeah. So please tell me now any doubt in these things, right? So most of you have typed in yes. So if you don't have any doubt, so then we can go ahead and close this session. So before that, I have a request, right? So I feel the effort from your side, somehow, somewhere it is not up to the mark. I'm not complaining, right? You have, I can understand you have other works as well. You have other subjects to learn, right? But, right, unless you are comfortable with what has been discussed in previous sessions, or at least some of the prerequisites which I told are important, right, you will find it difficult, right? You will find, maybe when I say something, we can't always actually revisit the prerequisites every time. We can't do that, right? So I request all of you to like keep that in mind and come prepared for the sessions, right? Online sessions. And maybe what I can do from my side is we'll keep an assessment, right, which will an assignment or a quiz which will involve all the topics and prerequisites which we have discussed so far, right? So that you will get a chance to prepare, right? That is one thing from um, my side we can do. So if you have any other suggestions or uh, inputs to give, maybe if you want me to change the way I take up the topics, right? If anything is there, please do feel free to tell. Like, is it okay the way we are taking up the topics, or do you find difficulty in my actually what delivery method, or you want me to like make some changes, right? No, anything would be fine. Like finally, learning should happen. That is what is the intention, right? So maybe I'll yeah. Any inputs, please? No inputs. Shall we continue in this manner?